Hey everyone, welcome to the Lamar Trailers podcast. I'm Willy Peters, or William Peters, the CEO of Lamar Trailers, and with me today I have Richard Fair, the COO of Lamar Trailers. We're here at the leadership event in Dallas. It's the Global Leadership Summit. And so today, since we're here for this weekly podcast, we're going to share with you something short and sweet that we think will be valuable to our team members that are listening. Me and Richard are really good at podcasts. Just kidding. But we'll take turns. We'll share a couple things that stood out to us so far on this leadership event that we think will be helpful. So Richard, what is something that stood out to you from yesterday that you learned that was inspiring to you?
Well, Sarah Shimi said, anything worth doing is worth doing poorly. And that's why we're doing this podcast. So we believe it's worth doing. Yeah, I think I heard it first from Paul Akers, actually. And I kind of like using that. So, because I'm not a perfectionist, so it kind of fits in well. So, yeah.
If you don't already know, we don't have these nice mics. We're out here. We're keeping it simple. That's what we're all about. This is probably the worst podcast, but it will be the realest podcast. Yeah. One of the realest that you'll find out there. We're doing these podcasts to communicate to all 230 team members that we have at Lamar, to create culture and just to communicate the core values and the mission and the things regarding Lamar Trailers and life. Our mission statement is Lamar Trailers exists to provide a stable, lean, and fun place to work so that people can grow and thrive in life. So that's why we're here. That's why we want to do these podcasts. And over time, I expect they'll better. We've been wanting to do this for a while, but everyone has things they know they should be doing, but they don't dare themselves to. So we finally pulled the trigger and started a podcast. One of the things that stood out to me was Vanessa Van Edwards' talk. She talked about connecting with people and level 1, level 2, and level 3 questions. Level 1 question is the default one. That's the stage that all of us are used to being in. And it's the question when we meet someone new is, how are you? And you know the answer to that. And then the second question is, what do you do? And the third question is, where are you from? So she inspired us to stop asking those questions and asking more meaningful questions. When you meet someone, we tried this yesterday. We went to In-N-Out Burger, me and my wife, and we were talking about that. And I told her, you know what, I'm going to go on a diet for a whole month. When someone says, how are you? I'm going to not respond with good. I'm going to respond with something unexpected and then ask them an unexpected question instead of the regular, how are you? And actually, since I've said that 3 times now, I failed already, where I tried making it up and saying and following up with a different question, but I've already said good 3 times since yesterday to people. But we went through a drive-through at In-N-Out Burger, and we were paying at the window, and my wife was saying, you should ask him a level 2 or level 3 question. And I'm like, I should. Okay, I will. Because that was one of the people I had. He asked, how are you? And I said, good. And then he said, that'll be $13.95. So as he was getting the change in that window, I stuck out my head and I said, what's been the highlight of your day so far? And he stopped what he was doing, and he stuck his head out, and a big grin came across his face. And he's like, I don't know. My shift just started, so I'm not sure yet. But he was smiling ear to ear and he completely stopped what he was doing. And there was people behind me, and I was thinking, I don't want to interrupt him. So before I asked him, I was thinking, okay, I shouldn't probably say that, but I did anyways, and it was worth it. And then I said, well, how about that you got a job? And he looked at me and he said, that's it. And then he gave us our receipt and we were off, and me and my wife were just smiling and talking about it afterwards. Not only did it give him a smile, but it gave me a smile. And I was thinking maybe my goal should be every day to see how many smiles I can get after I ask level 2 or level 3 question. That would be like the indicator or the metric of if it's good or worth doing. It's going to take a little bit of time to get used to training my brain to respond with something else than good. How about something else? We'll share one more each, and then we're going to get back to these leadership events.
Something that Zahar also said yesterday was take action on thoughts. Yesterday we were driving home, and I tell my wife, I had this this idea of a podcast long before Willy did. But that thought didn't go anywhere. So, but thoughts don't do anything by themselves if you don't take them into action. So.
What kept you from taking action on that thought? Why do you think we as people sometimes don't take action on thoughts?
I've never done a podcast before, so this is my first podcast that I've ever been on. So
you know what I like about you, Richard, and something that tells me that you're a leader. When I asked you want to be a part of this podcast today, help me make it. I knew you weren't going to be comfortable with it. I'm not, but you probably a little bit less comfortable with it than I am. But you said yes, and that's what a leader does, right? If you want to grow, you're going to be uncomfortable. In other words, if you're not uncomfortable, then you're not growing. Are you uncomfortable right now?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That means you're on track. You're growing. You're going to be different by this time next year. You're going to feel completely different about this because you're out and just doing it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Like Art Williams' famous speech, right?
Yep.
Just do it. One of the things that keeps me from doing the things that I have that I know are good ideas, and even this podcast is an example of that, is I'm afraid of failure. And so that's one thing that keeps me back. So I know something's a good idea. I feel really strongly about it, but I won't do anything about it because I know there's going to be maybe that one person that might criticize it, or I'm afraid of what people will think about it. But we're not going to stop that from achieving what needs to be done, right?
Right.
Anymore.
Right.
We'll remind ourselves of that. So just remember this, if you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing. So growing is just going to be uncomfortable, doing things that we're not used to doing. Craig Rochelle said yesterday, people tell him, well, I'm not a speaker and I'll never be a speaker. And he said, speak. That's how you become a speaker. And I can attest to that. So I had one more thing that I wanted to share. Along that lines of fear of rejection or fear of failure, something that Sahar Hashimi said yesterday as well is that expect rejections. In fact, welcome it. She had heard so many no's before she heard a yes in her business idea. And so I have a next big thing that, just like her, I know of a market gap. And it's actually now the third year that I've come to this GLS summit. And each time I'm like going home, I'm going to start this. I know it's needed. It's going to bring value to people. But so far I haven't done it yet. But maybe this is going to be the Global Leadership Summit where I take action on it and expect rejection and just get it done. It'll be worth it. So I won't tell you yet what it is because I still have a little fear of failure. And if I tell you what it is and I don't do it now, I'll feel like I failed. But those are the two things that stuck out to me among many others. Anything else you would like to add?
Yeah, John Acuff, I'll just throw another one out there. He said, write down a goal, and then how many negative thoughts came to your mind of why you can't do that after you write that goal. So that's what I realized. Your mind is constantly, at least for me, giving you constant negative feedback, and you have to basically program your mind to change that. That's another thing that I take away there. So.
That's a good point. So our thoughts shape our actions, or
yeah. And then he said thoughts are they come by chance or choice. I never thought of it that way before.
All right, we are keeping it short and sweet. We hope this was informational, valuable to you. Remember, our mission at Lamar Trailers is to provide a stable, lean, and fun place to work so that people can grow and thrive. This is number 2 of many imperfect podcasts by 2 very imperfect leaders who are just still stumbling through life trying to figure it out, and leadership and parenting and everything, right?
Right.
All right. Thank you, Richard. You can watch these videos on YouTube. You can see Richard and I and where we're at, or you can listen to them on podcasts, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify. All right. So lead like it matters. See you next time.